Go now. Yeah, we had to be on the right channel. All right, welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. This is a presentation about what's going on in Ukraine. This is a Lynn Memorial United Methodist Church thing. Just need to make sure you all hear that, right? As told by Chris with the last name that's Ukrainian. So I'm going to let her tell you. My name is O'Neill. It's a whole lot easier for me to say, but I'm sure other places it's not. Thank you for being here because this is all about listening to another human being and putting a face to that story. I think a lot of what's going on in our world today is a lot of what we see isn't necessarily true, right? When you think about the art of influencing, you think about how much time goes into the videos that we make and the photos that we take. It's not instant, it's not live like we think. And then we've got the news, and I'm not even going to go into what that is, but there's a lot of opinions in the news. And so we question what is really going on in the world today. Please know there really is a war in Ukraine. This is Chris. Chris is wearing an actual shirt or blouse this is a ceremonial blouse that they wear on holidays and special occasions. She did not get that at Walmart, I can assure you. It looks like it's hand made. Is it embroidered or cross stitched? Embroidered, I don't know the difference. It's that. So she's very gifted. She's a law student in Ukraine. She will be here for a couple more months until the spring semester is over, and then she'll head back to Ukraine, and she's going to do everything she can to put it back together again. So, and I believe that this young lady will probably do something like that. I don't know, she may be the next president, who knows. So I'm going to turn it over to Chris.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna get up to my place, and I would like to start with the introduction. In introduction Ukrainian, my name is Христина Борщук. So like for everyone, I'm Chris, but in Ukrainian I'm Христина. And I would like to say that I'm thankful. First of all, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to those who gave the most precious, their lives, for my country, for my people, and for me. If not for the soldiers on the front line who defended, are defending, and will defend our country, I would not be here standing in front of you. I would be dead. I'm grateful deeply for Lynn Memorial Church, for Central Methodist University, and all those who supported me and are supporting me in this journey for a few months as an exchange student. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to speak up. And of course, I'm so deeply grateful for all of you coming here. This is really important. This is truly important because I'm thankful to be here so you can listen to my story that I'm about to tell you today. Today is 24th February, and this is the 3rd anniversary of the full-scale invasion of the war in Ukraine. It's been 3 years of the war, but I'm here today to tell you why it is not only 3 years in reality. So I have a first question. What do you know about Ukraine? I'm gonna take 3 answers. Just raise your hand and everything that you may know about Ukraine, please. Yes. Yes, the world producer of food and grain. Great. Next. Yes. Yes, yes, that's true. And last one? Anyone? Yes. Yes, famous boxers. Our sportsmen are really good, so thank you. And I'm gonna start with the general information. If you were wondering where we are, so from United States, we are there. We are not that far, it's only 10 hours of flight. I was flying, but I was happy of doing that, so if you may think that it is so far away, it's not, only 10 hours and you're in Ukraine. This is a general information about our country. I'm gonna just like be real quick with it because this is information that usually people are interesting to know, but they're gonna forget it real soon. So we have Ukrainians, we have Crimean Tatar, we have Krimchak. A little bit down, a little bit down, lower, like that. Sorry. So our religion, our ethnic groups, our total area. We are one of the biggest countries in Europe. So this is our flag, like blue sky and yellow, like our wheat and our ground. You may see it like this. It's a little bit in the wrong position, but this is the right position of our flag. And you may see our flag everywhere in Ukraine. I'm going to show you that. This is a picture of myself. This is the field near my village, and this is a blue sky that you can see, and you can see the yellow wheat that shows the real representative of our flag. We do also have an unofficial flag. So this flag is something really important to us because this flag received a lot of usage after the independence of Ukraine, which was in 1991, where it became a common symbol of Ukrainian nationalism. Reminder, not nationalism, not natives, not German, nationalism, as from nation. It has also been frequently used as a military symbol and an official war flag in the Russia-Ukrainian war. The reason why it is red and black, because if you spill the blood on our flag, it's going to be red and black. This is the chevron of a Ukrainian soldier with spilled blood. You can see clearly that we have red and black here. So that's how it is, and that's how in reality it's symbolism of our great fight for our independence, for being a nation, a free nation. And we are delving into history right now. So from the 17th century, Moscow, which is the capital of the city of Russia, started to invade Ukrainian land step by step. You may not see all the text, but I'm gonna like briefly describe it to you. So in 1721, Muscovy, that's how Russians called themselves in history back, they called themselves Russian Empire. And they started effectively laying claim to the historical legacy of Kievan Rus. Kievan Rus, which is in Ukrainian Kievska Rus, this is our legacy, this is our history, this is how Ukraine started to be. But Russia, at that time, already in the 17th century, they started to claim that the Kievan Rus is Russians. The Moscovites rebranded themselves as Russian, and they started appropriating the cultural heritage from Kievan Rus, from Ukrainians. Stealing, stealing, and stealing. In 1876, the Russian Empire annexed much of the territory of Ukraine, just because it wanted so. Just because, oh, this is a great land. It has a lot of food, it has a lot of production, so we want to take that. And they took part of Ukraine. And also, Ukrainian language on the Ukrainian territory was banned. It was prohibited to talk in Ukrainian just because you were Ukrainian, just because Russian didn't like our language. They were telling that our language is similar. No, our language is completely different from Russian. And the interesting thing is, unfortunately, we always understand Russian, always. Like, unfortunately, we know two languages from the birth, but Russians, they do not understand Ukrainian. They don't know anything in Ukrainian. They just like, oh no, please talk in Russian. So that's how it is. That's how they didn't like, and they were calling our language rural, like a village, how villages, how those low people talk, they talk in Ukrainian. And 1933, this is the worst year in Ukrainian history. Ukraine experienced the Holodomor. This is a translation for extermination by hunger, derived from killing by starvation. This was a man-made famine in the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic that killed up to 7.5 million Ukrainians. Soviet Union at that time just wanted to make a genocide on the territory of Ukraine just because they didn't like Ukrainians, just because they were something bigger than they are. Man-made starvation. There was a law, I remember, there was a law that only allowed a person to have 3 parts of the wheat. You know, wheat is just like something small, and you are not allowed to have more. If you're gonna have more, you're gonna be killed. People were just dying, people were eating their relatives because they were dying. This was huge. And everyone is still talking about that. But some may forget about that. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea after the Revolution of Dignity and supported separatist movements in eastern Ukraine. Putin published an essay. Putin is the president of Russia. He published an essay saying that Ukraine's existence is impossible. And in 2022, we have full-scale invasion. I'm giving you this warning because some of the pictures may feel disturbing to you, but I wanted to remind you that this is the reality of Ukrainian people. Every day, every single day, we see this without censorship, without Instagram saying, oh, please don't show that, this is disturbing. So the Revolution of Dignity. This is what is believed to be the beginning of the war in 2014. This is a wave of large-scale protests erupted in response to President Yanukovych, who was a pro-Russian president who didn't want to keep Ukraine safe. He wanted to be with Russia. He suddenly decided not to sign a political association and free trade agreement with the European Union. We wanted to be in European Union because we are believed to be European. We are here, we are there, we are trying to make ourselves European, but Russia didn't want that to happen. So our pro-Russian president decided to go back and choose Russia.
Is the day of dignity and freedom. This holiday was created to commemorate the beginning of two revolutions. The Orange Revolution that started on November 22nd, 2004, and the Revolution of Dignity, November 21st. The day when Ukraine rallied for the sake of the future, as it does today. The day for which Ukraine paid a high price. But it didn't back down. Just like today.
So this was a short video about Revolution of Dignity, about how everything started, and if you want to know more, please take a picture of those QR codes, and they have a little videos about a brief history of Ukraine, why Russia just want to invade us for such a long time. Second video is about Orange Revolution, when our people stated that they don't want a president that corrupts. And the third video is about the Revolution of Dignity, which actually is believed to be the beginning of the invasion, because Russia at that time, in February and March 2014, Russia invaded Crimea. You see, Crimea annexed by Russia, and two oblasts. Oblast, it is something like a state in United States. Of course, it's like smaller than United States, but still. So like two oblasts were occupied. Like imagine two states in USA were occupied just because some country other wanted to. And it was the marking of the beginning of the Russo-Ukrainian War. 24th February 2022. This is how every Ukrainian woke up at 5 a.m. on this day. On 21st February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine in a major escalation of the Russo-Ukrainian War, which had started in 2014. The invasion, the largest and the deadliest one in Europe since the World War II. Everyone knows when World War II ended. We all know the story. And this is what is happening in the middle of the Europe in 21st century. This war has caused hundreds of thousands of military casualties and tens of thousands of Ukrainian civilian casualties. As of 2025, by this day, Russian troops occupy about 20% of Ukraine. 20%, and they claim that they want those territories to be Russian. This is my first day of the war. If you see me and my family sleeping in the basement during the first days of the war, this is how everything started. We woke up, we didn't know what is happening. Everything is flying in our skies. What is happening? We hear the news. Tanks, they occupied, they started the war. What? How? And I couldn't even sleep the first nights because you were not even imagining what is happening. You think, oh, they're gonna just go to your house, they're gonna kill your family, only because you're Ukrainian. Not because you did something, just because you're Ukrainian, you're gonna be killed. And that's how everyone is still being killed till this day, because they are Ukrainian, because we just want to live in our country. This is our packed suitcase in case we needed to go somewhere, because we didn't know, should we leave here? Should we leave somewhere else? Should we go there? Even though a lot of people, they went abroad because they were afraid of the war, they came back. Because they understood that it is better to live in the house, in their home, than somewhere else. Because when you're abroad and you don't know what is happening in your land, you feel even worse. You feel the guilt of being the survivor. Because our boys, our fathers, brothers, uncles, they are on the front line. They are fighting for us, and we are just somewhere safe. This is not right. This is how every Ukrainian thinks, that this is not right to feel safe. You can also see how people out of panic were buying everything. This is the shop. How people didn't know what is happening. Like, imagine every film that you have watched about World War I, about World War II, this was the reality. This was not a cinema. And also there was a humanitarian aid from Poland, which was delivered by my dad, because that's when the country started to support us. That's when they tried to give everything that we needed. Like, imagine, people didn't have baby diapers because they were just running out of war, because everything was just like escalating so fast. That's how Russia called our war. In late 2021, Russia massed troops near Ukrainians' borders and issued demands to the West, including a ban on Ukraine ever joining the NATO military alliance. Everyone knows what NATO is. It is so powerful, and we really wanted to be with NATO because we needed that protection. After repeatedly denying having plans to attack Ukraine, on 24th February, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced a special military operation. Did you hear about it? Special military operation. Okay, so what was the reason of that special military operation? I will tell you. Putin was saying that he wants to save the people. He wants to save the people on the Ukrainian territory that were suffering from discrimination. He espoused irredentist and imperialist views challenging Ukraine's legitimacy as a state, baselessly claimed that the Ukrainian government were neo-Nazis committing genocide against the Russian minority in the Donbass. Like, you remember 2014, 2 oblasts were occupied, and on those territories, Russia was claiming that we were committing genocide. And he said that his goal of that special operation is to demilitarize and denazify Ukraine. You want to see how Russia really saves people? Do you want to see how Russia supports our people? I'm going to show you. So I'm here not to persuade you. I'm here to show you facts. And I'm showing what is happening. This is how they claim. If you ask just a Russian person, why are you here? What do you know about Ukraine? What do you know about the war in Ukraine? This is their response. This is an interview from a Russian lady that was taking.
Никакой войны есть, просто людей спасаем.
So this is what they're claiming of saving people. Do you know how it is to be like saved like that? It is. I just cannot believe that someone still believes that Russia is trying to save us. How it is even possible that on the territory of Ukraine, Ukrainian government discriminates Ukrainians? No. This is simply an excuse of invading a territory. I wanted to show you two cases out of thousands that are happening every day in Ukraine. How, again, Russia is saving someone. So Bucha. Bucha is the city of Ukraine, and it was occupied at the beginning of the war. So the story is about Bucha massacre. The Bucha massacre was the mass murder of Ukrainian civilians and prisoners of war by the Russian armed forces during the fight for an occupation of the city of Bucha as a part of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Photographing and video evidence of the massacre emerged on 1st April 2022 after Russian forces withdrew from the city. I remember that day. Back at that day, I was in England and I was watching the news. When we saw what was happening in the city after occupation, we just thought how it can be even worse. How the person being that's claiming to be Christian can do something like that. According to local authorities, 458 bodies have been recovered from the town, including 9 children under the age of 18. Children. They were raping women, they were raping children just because they are Ukrainians. Among the victims, 419 people were killed with weapons, and 39 appear to have died of natural causes, possibly related to the occupation. Just imagine, without water, without light, without any possibility to socialize, to call your parents and tell you that you're okay. These are the photos that appear. These are just a few photos. People were laying on the ground, on the streets, just one by one, with their hands cuffed. They were tortured. You know, as a law student, I know what is war. I know what is an international armed conflict. Legally, this is an international armed conflict. I know what is a military object. I know what is a civilian object. Do these people look like soldiers to you? Those people do not have anything that says that they are soldiers, so they are not military objects. They are civilians. How civilians can be treated like that? For what? What is the reason? And when we saw those photos, we were just... Shock is not the word that you can describe it with. This is unbelievable. This is what is called not being a human. You see that picture? This is how Russians try to hide their crime. They were digging in the ground, and they were hiding the bodies of the people just like that. And that's how our people were finding those bodies. This is a photo of me in front of my university back in Ukraine. You see a happy-faced student who just entered to the university. This is Basilevich family in front of the same university. A beautiful family, a pro-Ukrainian family. And the girl that is having sunflowers, she was also a student. She was a year younger than me. She was so bright, she was very smiley. And the family was truly beautiful. You see the embroidery, you see their national costume, that's how they were. The youngest one was 7 years old. Husband, on that day, lost 3 daughters and a wife because of a missile attack on the town of Lviv. I live in Lviv. This is my study city, this is where I study, this is where I work. And geographically, Lviv is in the west of Ukraine. Everything is happening the front line is on the east of Ukraine, but the west of Ukraine is still suffering because of the missile attacks, drones, rockets. The family was sleeping in their own house. And during the night, a missile hit their apartment. During the sleep, that little girl, that 7-year-old girl, she was sleeping. And she was hit by the Russian rocket because, again, she's Ukrainian. And like, if you imagine, I do have plans, I do have future. And when I heard the news about Daria, who was also the student in my university, I was sitting in my chair and understanding that she will not have a future. She also had plans, she also had something in her mind. She should have been sitting here with me and listening to the lecture by the teacher, but she's killed. Is that saving people? And these were only 2 cases out of thousands that are happening in Ukraine. Every day we hear the news, we hear the new news. We hear that everything is happening, something new, a new case, a new crime. And when the world tell us, oh, this is just a number, this is just, everyone is dying. I really liked what the pastor said. Today I want to show you the faces of the victims, because this is not numbers for us. This is not just territory for us. This is our home. This is where we live. This is who we know. This is how we are living every day. And also I've heard, like everyone heard the news with the current president of the United States saying, we gave too much money to Ukraine. Ukraine has to give us money back. And everyone is saying that, oh, Ukraine has so much money because every country is giving too much money. I would like to give you an answer why other countries not only should help us, but are obliged to. In 1994, we were a part of Budapest Memorandum. This memorandum prohibited Russia, the United States of America, the United Kingdom from threatening or using military force or economic coercion against Ukraine. You know what we gave up for it? We gave up for it all nuclear weapon. We were one of the countries that had a lot of nuclear weapon in here. And if we still had that nuclear weapon, believe me, Russia would not invade us. We gave up everything that we have under the condition that USA, Russia, and United Kingdom is going to protect us. Okay, you want our weapon? Have it. We need the protection. But what do we have now? And now we're claimed to be the ones who started the war? And now we are the ones who are asking too much? You promised us. You promised us that we're going to be safe because we gave our weapon. You took everything, every weapon, every rocket that we could have defended ourselves with, but we couldn't. On 24th February 2022, we didn't have nothing. That's a miracle how we defended ourselves in the first days. Like, have you seen Russia? Have you seen Ukraine? Have you seen the amount of people that is living in Russia? Have you seen the amount of people living in Ukraine? We are such a small country, but we still managed to stay. Putin was saying that he's gonna take us in 3 days. Did he do it? No. You know why? Because our people with bare hands were stopping tanks. With bare hands, they were pulling their guns and just shooting Russia. They were defending their country. They were not attacking. They were defending what is called to be our land, our territory, our freedom. Every nation has a right to be free. So why do still in 21st century we have to fight for having a right to be called Ukrainian or Palestinian or Israeli? Like, why do we still have to fight for that? If you're wondering how we live nowadays, it's been 3 years, which are exactly not 3 years at all. But like, as a student, I've lived half of my life in war, because you remember 2014 when everything started? It's 2022. I'm 19 years old. And when everything started, I was just like going to college. I was just starting my college life. But how do I live every day? I'm gonna tell you. This is me hiding in the basement during air alarms. I'm gonna make you imagine. You have worked all day. You're so tired. You want to just go to sleep, have a nice sleep, and then wake up in the morning and go. I worked so hard. I fell asleep. But during the night, there's an air alarm. You have to wake up, you have to go and take your bag. You see that pink bag? That's my backpack, in which there is a sleeping bag, in which there are warm clothes and some food sometimes, in the case that I'm gonna stay in the basement for long. Because it's a lucky day when you are in the basement just for 15 minutes or an hour. You can stand there 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. And then you're going, when the air alarm finishes, you're going back to your apartment, tired because you didn't have sleep. But you're just brushing your teeth, taking a shower, and go to work or go to university. Because this is how we live. We cannot stop just because we have air alarms. If we stop, that's it. We still have to live, because those who are standing in the front line, they are telling us, please live a life. Please enjoy yourself. You still need to live a life, because we are there for you. We are defending your peace. They tell us, please be with your family, because they cannot. They say, please have a good warm meal, because they cannot. They say, please talk about us, because we are suffering that. That's at least what I can do here, is talk. They are sitting in the front line for us, asking us to be happy, but we feel the guilt of being alive. If not for them, I would be dead. And the only thing that we have from the innovations is, for example, an air alarm app that's saying us when there is air alarm in Ukraine. You see those red oblasts? When it's red, it means it's under danger of rockets, missiles, drones. And this is not the only thing that we know. We also have a special program that allows us to track where's the rockets going. So like when I wake up during the night, I open my app and see, oh, the rocket is going my city. So I need to get the backpack and I need to go. And you're just sitting there, and sometimes you're just not sitting, you're studying, because you're understanding that, oh, I need to do the work still, because who's gonna do it if not me? Who's gonna go tomorrow if not me? And my main message is that every Ukrainian is a target. It just depends when you are next. Maybe I'm gonna be in 2 months, 3 months in that place, in that time when the Russians' rockets gotta hit me. Just because it has to happen. Just because it does not matter what we do, what we try to say. We are Ukrainians, and that's why Russian always tell us. They will always say that we are in the fault. Of living like this for 3 years, you cannot even imagine how frustrated you are when people are finally, at one time, they're supporting you, but then they're turning their backs and saying, you're in the fault. It's like, imagine there is a rapist and a victim. And the third party says to the rapist, please be quick. And to the victim, it says, shut up. You are the one who are reliable for that. So rapist is Russia, the victim is Ukraine, and the third country is like everyone else that is telling us to shut up. This is truly hard. This has truly been not only a day, not a 2, not a 3, not a week, not a month, not a year, not a 2, nor 3, 5, 10. It's been 300 years. 300 years of everyday thinking. Why? Why us? Why my nation has to suffer? Why? Just because we were born? But that's how it is. That's how genocide is happening. That's because we are here. And when you're trying to believe in something good, they make it worse, because we see the news. And when we're trying to do something else, they will still make it worse. So what I wanted to ask you is to, every time a Ukrainian politician or our president, for example, ends his speech, he says a wording.
and like every Ukrainian knows that wording, it means Slava Ukraini. This means glory to Ukraine. And if you hear that phrase from a Ukrainian, you have to reply, Heroyam Slava, which means glory to heroes, to all those who died back in 300 years ago, and who died now, and who are still defending us. So let's try. I'm gonna say to you, Slava Ukraini, and I would ask you to reply, Heroyam Slava. Slava Ukraini. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. I'm uncomfortable, right? So just gonna throw that out there. Thank you for your courage. So we're gonna have a moment of prayer, right? And our prayers will be silent, in which you lift up your prayers. You'll be invited to come up and light a candle to represent your prayer. And while we're doing that, Chris will have a song playing in the background for us, and then she has something she wants us to pray for. So please, if you're able, come up and light a candle.
Yes, at last, I would like kindly to ask you, gather all together in prayer for all of the dead, for all alive, for the country, for the people, for the independence, for my Ukraine, for a country that has a bright future and has a right to be called Ukraine. We don't want to occupy Russia. We don't want to occupy anyone. We want to stay in our territory in peace and just be with territories that we had in 1991. We just want to have a right to be called Ukrainians without anyone pressuring us. And I would also kindly ask you to say a prayer for my closest friend's father, to whom I'm so thankful for defending me, my family, my friends, to whom I'm so thankful to say that I'm here. Because of him, I'm being here in front of you. If not for him, I would be dead. Thank you so much for your attention. Let us pray.
Хто ж не буде брати
виберуть ми, чужі люди, виберуть ми, чужі люди. Ці не жальти нам пробуде, ці не жальти нам пробуде. Якби ж мені, синку, не жаль, якби ж мені, синку, не жаль, ти ж на моїм серцю лежав, ти ж на моїм серцю лежав. Плине кача по тисині, плине кача по тисині.
Almighty God, we give you thanks for hearing our prayers. And thank you all for coming tonight. If you're wondering, what can you do? You did a lot tonight. I call it the ministry of listening. It's when we just listen to another human being and hear what they're going through. So thank you again for coming tonight. We purposely didn't have a question and answer time, but if you would like to ask Chris a question, come on up and she'll be here to answer anything you have to ask. So God bless you. Thank you all.